Hello everyone and welcome to my Royal Family official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. As the new monarch of the United Kingdom, King Charles III is forging his own path. However, he is carrying on the late Queen Elizabeth II's legacy in one of Her Majesty's favorite pastimes, horse racing. Following the sale of a few of his mother's horses, because you can't keep them all, the new sovereign is picking up where she left off by sending 4 juveniles to training for the upcoming racing season. After Queen Elizabeth died, King Charles sold some of her horses. During her reign, Queen Elizabeth was an avid racehorse breeder who also enjoyed riding and attending races. King Charles chose to sell 14 of her horses through the Tattersall's auction house after her death in September 2022. Love Affairs, her last winner at Goodwood just 2 days before her death, was among the horses sold. She was trained by Clive Cox. Just Fine, trained by Sir Michael Stout, was another high-profile horse sold. There's nothing unusual about it. They would sell horses every year, Tattersall spokesman Jimmy George told the BBC. The Queen had her own broodmares, which she bred and sold. You won't be able to keep them all. Every year, the owners sell their stock. His Majesty is simply doing what all owners do. The late Queen inherited the royal stud from her father, King George VI, a racehorse breeding center at Sandringham that produced a number of winners. I'm sure if the Queen had not been bred into being a monarch, she would have found a vocation with horses. It was simply in her DNA, said the Queen's racing manager, John Warren. His Majesty has resumed where Queen Elizabeth left off. The sale of the horses did not signal the end of the royal family's involvement with horse racing. He recently sent 4 of the Queen's young horses to Andover trainer Ralph Beckett to get ready for the upcoming racing season. Beckett is a flat racing expert who was approached by the King to train the 4 horses bred at the Royal Stud, according to Express. One of the horses he is training is the sister of the Queen's sprinter King's Lynn, who won the Group 2 Temple Stakes in the King's Stance Stakes at Ascot last year. Another horse trained by Stout is Diploma's half-sister. According to reports, the Queen divided her horses among 11 different trainers, but it was Charles who hired Beckett to train the first horse he bred with Camilla, the Queen consort, back in 2008. I did a double take when he told me the plan. It's a great honor and a lot of fun, Beckett said. King Charles, unlike his late mother, is not a horse enthusiast. The sale of 14 of the Queen's horses at auction to reduce the royal racing stock by 1/3 netted King Charles £1 million. The royal family's relationship with the horse racing industry will continue after the Queen's death, but there will be some significant changes. The desire is to continue the traditions and connections with Royal Ascot, but not on the scale that Her Majesty had because she had a passion, an insider explained. Queen Elizabeth received her first horse, a Shetland pony, when she was 4 years old and went on to own dozens of horses throughout her life. She sold about 7 pieces per year as part of the natural churn of her collection. The coronation of King Charles III is scheduled for this spring, and the cost has already surpassed $100 million. As the cost of living in the United Kingdom rises, many are wondering if taxpayers will foot the bill for the King's event. King Charles reads the Queen's speech in the House of Lords chamber, next to her imperial state crown, on May 10, 2022 in London, England, during the state opening of Parliament in the House of Lords at the Palace of Westminster. King Charles' simplified coronation will still cost more than $100 million. According to palace insiders, King Charles' coronation will be smaller than that of his late mother, Queen Elizabeth II. Her wedding in 1953 cost £1.57 million. In today's money, that would be £51 million. The coronation of Charles is expected to cost around £100 million, $120 million, according to The Sun. This total will cover costs such as security, Westminster Abbey decorations, and other ceremonial elements. $120 million seems like a lot of money for what palace sources claim will be a trimmed-down coronation. What exactly is Charles leaving out of his ceremony? The King's coronation will be much shorter than his mother's. Hers lasted more than 3 hours, whereas Charles will last between 90 minutes and 2 hours. Furthermore, he will only invite 2,000 people to the coronation. 8,000 people were invited by Queen Elizabeth. Charles is also expected to attend the ceremony wearing one of his military uniforms. According to the Royal Collection Trust, the late Queen wore a gown with a 27-foot train that was custom-made for her. No new outfit for Charles means drastically reduced clothing costs. King Charles' desire for a smaller coronation ceremony corresponds to his plans for a slimmer monarchy. According to sources, the king wants to reduce the number of working members of the royal family, which will reduce the cost of the royals to taxpayers. Members of the British public have criticized the royal family for the extravagant ceremony. The British government will pay for the coronation, which has sparked some public outrage. Many have criticized King Charles and the rest of the royals for putting on such an expensive event as the cost of living in the UK skyrockets. Working people are struggling to pay their rent and mortgages, let alone feed their children. It is utterly crass for Charles to demand a coronation that is every bit as extravagant as the last one, says Graham Smith, CEO of the anti-monarchy group Republic via Yahoo. The coronation isn't necessary. He is already king. It's all about promoting the monarchy and appeasing his ego. According to The Sun, the British government has argued that the worldwide TV rights to the televised ceremony will help cover costs and that tourists visiting the UK for the coronation will revitalize the economy. The pricey jewels that King Charles will be wearing during his coronation. The impressive collection of crown jewels that King Charles will wear during the ceremony is one of the items involved in the coronation that the government will not be paying for. The king will wear the St. Edward's crown, which is made of solid gold and contains over 400 gemstones, such as rubies, sapphires, and garnets. The sovereign's scepter with cross and the sovereign's ring are two more expensive items that King Charles will use during the coronation. The scepter contains the world's largest diamond, a 530-carat Cullinan diamond valued at $430 million. The coronation regalia, the crowns, scepter, and orb, are laced with history, according to jeweler Maxwell Stone, making it difficult to put a price on the collection. He did estimate that the jewels are worth a staggering $3.8 billion, 3.5 billion pounds, according to Chris.